Yes, ma'am. All right, y'all. We are live with Miss Valerie Simon. It's good to see you, Miss Val.
Good to see you too, King Cedric. How is everything? How you handling things during this
It's all God.
stay-at-home executive order and the pandemic that's going on with COVID-19?
It's all God, so you never make it all good.
That's right.
You know. And tonight is real special for us. We have two queens in the house, Queen Charlene, Queen Val, and we talk about domestic violence and the impact that COVID-19 is having on our community.
That's right.
Now, domestic violence is in our households because everybody is affected by this whole work stoppage. So, Miss Val, I'll let you chime in. Let ladies first. So I got to make sure I show respect to the queens. So I want y'all to really go ahead and set this thing off, and because I know you got some good statistics for them. You got the facts.
What we want to do?
Well, I want to first say thank you to you, King Cedric, and to Queen Charlene for even having this type of necessary dialogue during such a serious time as we are all experiencing within the domestic violence community. So I salute you. This dialogue needs to continue and increase because even though we are all alarmed and on guard regarding COVID-19, there is a whole other safety issue that is taking place with victims and their families related to domestic violence.
That's right.
As we are all doing this live broadcast right now, there are 27 homicides that have occurred in North Carolina for this year. And if I want to go back, we did our shutdown here at the beginning of March. So from March the 1st, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 homicides since March the 1st. The latest on April the 14th here in Sampson County, a town called Turkey. The victim was age 30. The alleged perpetrator, age 27, and the relationship was husband.
Now, in South Carolina, Rock Hill, and God bless the dead, there was a young lady that worked for our county commissioner's office, worked at the county building. She was murdered by her husband. Her and her child was murdered by her husband, and then he killed himself. And this was a couple weeks ago. So this is something that's very serious. Charlene, I know this is something that has been hitting home with you because you was a part of that forum that they had. Shout out to Dana, Kathy Williams, and it's just...
And Valerie was there as well.
And I know that this is something that's passionate, your passion.
Yeah, most definitely.
So could you just, shed some light on this? Because right now, and I want to set the record straight, right? Stop putting your hands on women. For real. When I was in prison, guys that used to come to prison for beating up on women, raping women and stuff, they used to get done to them what they had done to that person. I'm in society now in a more civilized environment, but I'm telling you that you don't have a great time in prison when you have to learn how to resolve your issues in a more civilized way. So if you are putting your hands on women, number one, it makes you a coward. Number two, it's going to make you a convict.
You're right. My passion comes in because of not only is it physical, it's also mental. And women have to know we need to stand together, and we have to know what it looks like. And I know sometimes it may feel like we're at end with it, but we have to reach out to people such as Valerie. And Valerie, you did not tell the people all of your accolades, but the main objective is to let people know that you do have an organization and you have resources that can help women who do not have any other way of contacting or being able to, I don't know which way I'm looking, so I'm all over the place, but just talk to the people about that, for as your organization. For as me, all I can do is continue to be a voice for the voiceless and to let people know, women know, children know that there are safe havens out here. You just have to know where and how to look for them. And as long as we open up platforms such as ours, we're going to be a resource. We're going to be a connect to other resources so that women, children, even some men will know that they have some allies out here that's going to help them. So, Valerie, with that being said, please just tell us. I wanted you to introduce yourself, but tell us.
Share your testimony.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, my name is Valerie Simon, and I am very, very, very passionate and engaged and involved in the domestic violence community. I'm more of a behind-the-scenes person, even though being behind the scenes oftentimes puts you in the forefront, on the front lines. My passion is dealing with legislation and state, local, city, and county resources, and to make sure that the resources and the systems are beneficial to victims and their families. And it has been my experience that the systems continue to fail. My first experience with domestic violence did not come by what we would want to say the traditional route. Domestic violence wears many tags. My first experience was by the hands of my own mother. My mother had a mental health condition that was gained through trauma from her experiencing my oldest brother being kidnapped from her at the age of 5, which caused her to have a mental nervous breakdown on numerous occasions, and eventually she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. In return, my mother was not being or receiving the appropriate mental health treatment, and she abused me, which led me running away oftentimes. I was in and out of foster care. So that's where my awakening became to domestic violence, but I didn't even realize that that was an awakening until well after I was a victim of domestic violence from my male counterparts. And then I began to advocate and to do my studies, and that's when I realized, oh, this started much well before a man ever hit me. It started with my mother. So I'm saying that because we have to understand that domestic violence wears many tags. It's not just a man abusing a woman. Women abuse men. Children abuse their parents.
Yes.
Parents abuse their children. I am the founder of an organization, which is a grassroots organization, and the title of that organization is Against All Odds, and odds is spelled ODDZ. Still I Rise Grassroots Movement. And that organization was birthed through much trauma, much pain, domestic violence, being a prison mother, being homeless, being a single mother raising 4 sons, and their fathers not being in their lives like they should due to going back and forth to prison, due to being in promiscuous and other relationships, me being a wife, and due to the infidelity that my husband exposed me to in the marriage, him having outside children. So all of this is what birthed Against All Odds, Still I Rise. Because even though my life was filled with odds, God gave me purpose. God gave me grace and God gave me mercy. And I was still able to rise like a phoenix out of the trauma and the tragedies that was dealt to me. And today I want to give honor to God for choosing me.
That's right. Because
He chose me and He allowed me to live again. Even though, there were times I tried to commit suicide. On 2 different occasions in my life. He said, not so.
That's right.
Then a little over 4 years ago, I went into the hospital for a scheduled 1-day surgery, and I died on the table, was in a coma. God said, not so. And when I came out the coma, I couldn't talk. From the ventilator that I was on to the fact that they had to write and let me know that both my right and my left vocal cords were paralyzed, and they didn't know if I would ever talk again. But God said not so.
That's right.
So here today, I talk with a different tone and a different passion. I talk now with purpose. And my purpose is to be a voice for the muted, to be a voice for the voiceless, to unite and join people together so that we can eradicate this. Domestic violence is a pandemic. No degrade or downgrade to COVID-19, but domestic violence is a pandemic.
Let me ask you
As
this.
I was saying with Queen Charlene today, it's unfortunate our children are out of school. But even being a Queen's sister who suffered molestation as a little girl, some by the hands of family members, there are thousands of children that are now home and have been taken out of their safe haven. School was a safe haven for thousands of children. They were getting breakfast.
Yes.
They were getting hot lunch. They were getting recess and hugs and the camaraderie of their friends and teachers that showed them love, where some of them don't get that at home.
That's right.
How many young boys and young girls do we think are now being at home and are being sexually molested? That is domestic violence. So we have got to pay attention to this.
That's
People
right.
now feel like they don't have resources because all of the resources are being appropriated to COVID-19. Victims are feeling like they have to remain in their situation because there's nowhere to go.
So let me ask you this right here. Because I know somebody's sitting out there and they wondering if they in a situation right now, me, you, we husband and wife, and I'm mad. It's called displaced aggression because you really mad at this COVID situation and you mad because you don't have a job, but then you come home and you take it out on the wife. So now I come home, I'm in my feelings, I'm talking crazy. What do I do? How do you deal with me as a person that's unhinged? I want people to have advice right now, solutions on how to react, how to respond, how to get out of that situation, how to be safe. What do you say to them?
Well, first and foremost, before that situation occurs, there are going to be some red flags. That's first and foremost.
Okay.
And as soon as a victim starts noticing the red flags, a blind eye does not need to be turned on those red flags, and that victim needs to begin to put in place an adequate and appropriate safety plan. A plan of action and escape. A safety plan is a plan of action, and an escape mode, it includes emergency contacts. It includes all of your important documentations, your banking account information, things that if you have to take up and go in the heat of a moment, you will have and someone else would have access to too. So whenever a victim is in a situation, the situation did not just come up. There were red flags that more than likely that victim ignored. And I'm trying my best not to use the word she, because it's not always a she. It's oftentimes a man too. But the red flags were ignored. We cannot be ignorant or so pulled towards wanting to be loved and desired that we don't recognize that what we are receiving is not love.
Now, because you know, a lot of times the man will be like, "You ain't got nowhere else to go. Where you gonna go? What you gonna do?" And they'll try to make it seem like it's acceptable, you know. And the woman, she starts to believe she don't have no safe haven to resort to because he has been financially taken care of. So when the woman is in a situation like that, and she just can't pick up the phone, say she's moved like in your say she moved from New Jersey to North Carolina, and she don't have no family members right here in North Carolina. She don't have nobody to help her in North Carolina, right? What does a woman in that situation do?
That's a very good question. There are local agencies. However, I have experienced going to a local agency and being denied the right to stay.
Really?
And that's what this conversation is about. Oftentimes, there are resources out there on the websites and on paper. But when the victim really needs those resources, are those resources readily available? There are some victims that have children, and they may have a son and they may have a daughter. They may contact the shelter, and the shelter says, we don't have beds for boys. We can only take you and your daughter. So we need more resources. What we need the most is for us that are advocates, us that are voices like myself, Queen Charlene, yourself. We need to unite. We need to unite and come together, whether it's on one live Zoom, because of social distancing right now, and when we are able to return back to meeting without the computers, we need to come together and develop a plan to go from county to county. North Carolina has 100 counties, and do an audit and learn and understand how domestic violence is handled in each county.
Absolutely.
And this is why
so we can learn how it's handled, and then come back and fine tooth and review it and see what changes need to be made. We're not trying to take away from what's already in place. What we're trying to do is make sure that what's in place is beneficial to the domestic violence community and the children that become involved. Because like I was going to say, here in Gaston County, I experienced a domestic violence situation, and the court dismissed it, saying I didn't show up in court. I was never notified. How would I know to show up in court? I never got served. The assistant DA and the district attorney, Lockville, they blatantly told me I could not have my case brought back to court.
Wow.
I had 2 criminal charges. The last one was the person came to my apartment at my door with a knife, threatening to kill me. Had I been the one to open the door, I may not be here today.
Now, Miss Tina said that resources are not always readily available, and the police don't always come. So
that's exactly right.
When a person, and that's what I want to kind of, Charlene, I want you to chime in on that. What do you say to a Miss Tina when she's sitting in her house and this man is acting crazy? She done called the police. They ain't came. What resources, like you said, you know, the shelter said, oh, we can't take you or something like that. What do you say to a person like that? I mean, like, because that's why we're having this show right here, because we really want people to feel like they have the help that they need. And I know, and I'm going to tell you, me personally, right, and I'm going to let the experts answer this, but there's somebody that cares about you. And you know who that somebody is. We cannot tell you who that somebody is that really, truly care about you, and you know they care about you. But that's who you need to contact. You need to get in touch with somebody that's going to care enough to put their life on the line to help you. So it's very important, and if you don't have somebody that cares enough about you, one person, that means you need to change the way you conduct yourself. Because there's somebody out there that loves and cares about everybody. You understand what I'm saying? So if you doing your life is so bad the way you ain't got one person in this whole world. Because I can tell you, I have a lot of people that if I'm in a situation, and I know Charlene do, I know Val, and you need somebody, and that's why Val said, don't wait until you in that situation. Have that emergency exit plan in place right there, so when that goes down and it happens like that, you know what, baby? You are 100% right. You are 100. Let me go to the store real quick. I'll be right back. But I'm not even going to argue with you. You're right. You can use reverse psychology to slide up out of there and get where you need to be, because in his mind, he feels he's in control. And he going to think you coming back, but you ain't coming back. So it's always a way to get up out of there, because when you argue with somebody, the energy that you put into it, you got to make sure it stay positive. When they come with the negative stuff, if you come back with something negative, then it's going to be brute force. But if you come, oh, you're right, man, and you be like you submissive to it, but you're really not submissive. You're just trying to trick yourself to get out the house. And then you go where you need to be. So, Charlene, I want you to, no, I mean, seriously, because, when y'all, I can't say I'm an expert, because I never put my hands on a woman, and I haven't been in an abusive, relationship when it comes to domestic violence. So I'm not an expert in this. But I know y'all are. That's why, I really want y'all to take that cup and pour into these people that may be sitting at home right now going through the very thing we talking about.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you said, King, when you said sometimes they have to know someone. I want those that are viewing and listening to understand that when they're in a narcissistic, abusive relationship, their abuser isolates them.
Mm-hmm.
There is a grooming process, love bombing and gaslighting process that takes place, and coercion process, and during those processes, and that normally occurs before the physical abuse takes place. That's why a lot of times the abuser moves the victim away from their family.
Absolutely.
Now Miss Tina said what you talked about earlier. I want you to touch on that real quick, because she said her man had her put in jail. He flipped the game, and you was talking about this earlier. Well, he flipped the game. You said a term. You said narcissistic controllers. What you called it?
They have narcissistic tendencies, and what they do, they coerce law enforcement and court officials to believe that they're the victim. I just got a call 2 weeks ago, something very, very similar, where this victim was subjected to having to be institutionalized because her abuser told the police that she was the problem. When she goes to court, the court doesn't believe nothing she says, because when she initially went, they did not assign her a court advocate. And this was right here in Mecklenburg County. So that's the reason why. The one thing that I do want people to know here, my subject matter level of expertise is not one-on-one with victims. I have more strengths in advocating for appropriate resources and proper legislation changes and reforms, and making sure that the systems are working effectively to be a benefit to the domestic violence community that includes all victims and their children. And when I say victims, even abusers, because abusers are victims of something. Mm-hmm. They need help as well. But today we're on this live broadcast with our main focus on victims that are being victimized by an abuser or being re-victimized by lack of or ineffective systems. And our systems are continuing to fail our victims. And my heart is breaking, because I feel so hardly in my spirit that we're going to have thousands of children are going to fall into this domestic violence spectrum. And when they do return to school, are the schools going to be prepared with mental health therapists and counselors and teachers that will be able to help these children deal with the behaviors that come from being abused?
Yeah, they call that adverse childhood experiences. And I know Charlene can speak to that because that's something that we've been working in the schools on, and that's what she does, the one-on-one with a lot of child victims. And could you speak on that, Charlene?
One-on-one with children who have been in adverse childhood experiences. My whole goal is to make sure they know that they got someone that they can talk to, someone that loves on them, and that they have an advocate. That's who I am. That's what I do. Because when I was a child, I didn't have that. So it is my lifelong just journey to make sure children know that they have someone that they can lean on and depend on, and to know that we're not going anywhere. We're going to be there to give them that support that they need. So, and that's being said, Valerie, I know that we spoke on getting some more advocacy behind you and to stand with you on the journey of what you're trying to do. Please tell us, how can people or anybody who is going through it, who want to be a part of it, who just want to be an advocate, how can they assist in helping you develop more of what you're doing?
Thank you.
How can they contact you?
I also want to let everyone know I am currently in studies to become a certified domestic violence help coach.
Thank you. We need that.
And
Amen.
I am excited about this journey. I have been in studies since February. I'm just midpoint. And HELP stands for Hope, Empowerment, Life Skills, Prevention.
Help.
This is the Jennifer Y. Merriman Domestic Violence Help Coach Program. As a coach, my role would be to coach victims, to coach advocates. And what I am trying to do now, I have a petition that I backed off of because I needed to gather my emotions, because I was so broken and my spirit was just broken from what happened here in Gaston County. It re-victimized me. I almost felt like the system beat me. The system abused me when the system failed me. My voice was never heard, ever. Did I have an opportunity to explain my case or be heard in a courthouse? And instead, my cases, because it was 2 cases, were dismissed, and I was never notified of a new court date. So from that, I had a vision of a petition, and the name of the petition is called VALS, V-A-L-S, Voices Unite. And VALS stands for Victims Against Lack Speak. So I am looking for individuals, organizations that are passionate, that are professional, and don't mind putting in the necessary work to partner with me, to stand beside me, in front of me, and behind me, and let's go from county to county and do the proper legwork to see how their domestic violence programs, if they have any, are being ran, and to see what we can do to make them better.
How can people contact you? How can they contact you directly?
They can reach me directly by phone, area code 980-238-9818. You can also reach me on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Valerie, V as in Victory, A-L-E-R-I-E. Last name on Facebook is Yvette, E-D-Y-D-E-T-T-E. I also have a website. My website is www.aoznetwork.org.
You just try to use one hand. Give us that number again, Val.
Area code 980-238-9818. And I also have a email address. You can also forward emails to VALS, V-A-L-S, Voices, V-O-I-C-E-S,
Voices.
Unite.
Val Voices.
Unite.
Unite for change.
For change. Vow Voices Unite
And the 4
for
is the
Change.
number 4, not FOR.
It's number 4.
The number 4.
And I want y'all to know, and we're gonna wrap this up, that the SAVE program, Safeguard, Atone, Validate, Educate, has
Making sure your job ready instead of jail ready.
has a program that is headed by no other than Queen Charlene, called the Love Program, Legions of Victim Empowerment. And we look to empower all victims, which we don't call them victims, but we try to see them as survivors, because that's our goal and our aim, to help them survive this. So anyone, you have a helpline right here with us, and you can call anytime, 704-492-1533. 704-492-1533. You can call anytime. You hit that thing up.
And we would definitely make sure we get you in touch with Miss Val. She's been out here for so long, and we want to make sure she leave it alone. We want to make sure that she gets the advocacy that she needs behind her and beside her. It's very important. If you're about domestic violence and advocating for someone who do not have a voice for themselves, we need you to rally. We need you to start this movement, or even be a part of the movement that has already been started. We need you to stand up and be a voice.
So we asking all y'all right now we want you, if you see something, to say something.
That's right.
If you know that someone is in an abusive situation, if you see some marks on somebody's face that ain't got no business being on there, we want you to be inquisitive. Girl, what happened to your face? What's wrong with your eye?
Or it's not all about physical abuse. Emotional. The pain that you see in their eyes, or the disconnect of conversation, or the stares that goes off into the distance, or even if you're talking to them and they start to shake or tremble, it's something like, well, what's wrong? Just start asking questions. Don't just think that life is just beautiful just because they're looking good. We cover up with a lot of makeup and a lot of weave. But you have to know a discernment of spirit. You got to be able to see it and do something about it.
And I can tell you this, right? And I'm serious about this. And I'm speaking to the fellas right now. We got to stand up and be men.
That's right.
You know, don't let nobody tell you, man, I slapped the hell out that B and no, don't let nobody say that. Because would you want that to happen to your mama? Would you want that to happen to your sister or your daughter? Don't be somebody that enables that type of behavior. So I really want you to stand up and be men. And if you hear people even talking about that, set them straight. Check them. Let them know, man, nah, that ain't cool, man. That's some sucker stuff. You tripping, man. Don't be putting your hands on that girl, because I can tell you, right, this is a conversation we would not be having right now if somebody put their hands on my mama. I'm not going to go for that. And I would hope any man wouldn't go for somebody doing that to their mother, daughter, or sister. Well, you have to look at that woman the same way.
That's right.
So I'm asking, making a call to action, a plea. If you go on our website, cedricdean.com, and you go about SAVE, there's a declaration against domestic violence. It's a domestic violence pledge that we ask all men to sign, saying that you will not be abusive physically or mentally to any woman or child. That's on there. So we just asking you, in the midst of these problems right here, right? Don't take it out on your spouse. And that goes for the ladies too. Because I know you can get mad because the man ain't bringing the money. He ain't been working and stuff like that. So you can't get the little stuff you want to get, and you get into his head. It can go both ways. So we just making this thing and say, let's survive this, because this is an attack on humanity. This whole virus is affecting everybody. So everybody got to come together to fight it. All right?
That's right.
And just want to say one other thing. For those of you that have experienced domestic violence, whether you are a victim or you are a bystander and you have reached out for help and no one is responding, please make notes of those circumstances, dates, time, who you speak to, and reach out to me. Those are the loopholes that we need to reverse. It should never be that a victim or someone has witnessed a domestic violence situation, picks up the phone and dials 911, and there is no response. That's unacceptable. And we have got to hold these people that are holding offices accountable.
That's right.
That's my lane.
Right.
If that happens, make notes. Victims that are in domestic violence, make notes. Keep a journal of every situation that occurs, who you talk to. If you don't have pen and paper, everybody has a smartphone. Use your smartphone and text it to yourself. But it should never be that you call an agency or a law enforcement entity and no one responds. Things like that, please reach out to me.
Well, you got 2 numbers on there. I made sure that everybody got those numbers. We're going to wrap this thing up. You got our numbers. If you forget the numbers, you can always go to cedricdean.com, CEDRICDEAN.com, or you can go to charlenehenderson.com. And I promise you, you call, we come. You call, we come. So
If
don't
we
ever
do-
say...
wait a minute. If we do, we will come, but if we do not, we will be able to pass along resources that's going to help as well. So we can't
That's
be in
right.
all places at all times because we try to support as much as we can, but we're trying to keep a directory of resources that's going to help the next person. And don't be afraid to not say something. Just slide a note. Pretend you're making a call to someone else. Have code words so that someone else will know what's happening.
And I tell you this right here. You got my number. That's just like having the police number. Because I know all of them. I know all of them. If I got to call the chief, I got them. So I'm just letting you know right now, don't say you don't got nobody, because if you're in a situation, whether it's the police chief, the sheriff, the district attorney,
That's right.
we're going to get you the help you need. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for joining. Thank you so much, Miss Valerie.
Thank you. Let's keep this conversation going.
Definitely will.
We are trying to save lives, not kill lives.
That's
That's
right.
Thank you. Be blessed, everyone.
All right, be
All right,
blessed.
hit over there.
We love you. That ain't on.
There it is. All right, people. Good people, good people. What else you got to say?
That's it. We got nothing but love for you, Cedric Dean, Charlene
Got
Henderson.
nothing but love for you,
And
baby.
this thing is real, y'all. And I just want y'all to know that when it comes to domestic violence,
Yep.
it's something that affects women, children, and men.
Yep.
It affects everybody. And
Amen.
I want you as a man, and I'm speaking to the brothers, Charlene speaking to the sisters. I want you as a man to stand up and hold yourself accountable. If you know that you special, I ain't gonna call you no names. You know you special. Get the help you need, man. Come holler at me, man. I want to see you out here. I want to see you free. But I tell you one thing, right? If you put your hands on a woman, you're gonna be where you need to be. If you put your hands on a woman or a child, you're going to be where you need to be. I want you to be free.
You're going to be where you need to be.
So stay free and
All
take
right.
us serious, because we got nothing but love. Save, safeguard, atone, validate, educate. We out.
Deuces.